Hey Planet Poke people, it's me, Diogen Z, in super speedy mode, because this is a training episode of my Let's Play of Pokemon Conquest. Today our ambitions are to train, because the northern region, which Nobunaga has been very busy in trying to capture for all his own, he has obtained 8 territories. Now we have obtained 9, I guess by my count if it's correct. And if it's not, oh noes, I test suck at math. But today it's going to be sped up training because this is a lot of minor warrior maintenance, something that I do recommend and is a part of the strategic aspect of Pokemon Conquest. It's something that could be easily overlooked. It's sort of like the premise of the main RPG where you would only train maybe 3 of your Pokemon and then use the legendary that you captured for that game to take on the Elite Four. Kind of a cheap but plausible method for getting through. It's not going to work like that so well in Conquest because you need your supporting warriors to be strong for any of the imposing armies that might come from the northern region where Nobunaga has already captured them. Now it's important that you take every turn, really important that you take every turn's month seriously and do the most that you can. Eat panigiri if you don't feel like training. Go to the stores. Earn some extra money by battling. And, of course, claim new warriors. That's the reason I want to include these training episodes in the main Let's Play of Conquest, but we do not need to see them at such sluggish paces when we know what the outcome will be. Victory! Of course, for any regular Kingdom Takeover episode, I will boost this back up to normal speeds. But these boring episodes of training, it's really not hard to do. If you're playing this on DS and you're like, well, I don't have the fast-forward pace of editing Diogen Z, what am I gonna do? It's really not that bad. It's pretty swift, and I wouldn't even call it grinding because every match that you get into, yes, it's almost always you're going to trump your opponent if it's wild Pokemon, but it may also be a traveling lone warrior, and in that case, you want to try and defeat them as fast as you possibly can, like this Ice Wielder with Cubchoo, because the sooner you can defeat them, 4 turns is the max, the sooner you could add them to your team. That's how you get extra boosts in power, because every warrior has their own best linked Pokemon. So while you only start out with Oichi, your main warrior, and then you go out on your quest, we've gained a lot of warriors on our side that may or may not best link with whatever Pokemon they're traveling with. Sometimes you gotta wait for the best link to be something like an evolution. I don't believe Eevee, for example, is best linked at the moment right now with the main character hero Diogen Z, but I do believe once it evolves, then we'll have even more power at our side. I'm not going to make a special effort to make sure every warrior has their best linked Pokemon, but if you need extra power in your Kingdom Takeovers, which, trust me, you will in these upcoming battles, this training is not for nothing. This is really something you need to do. If you just jump into the next batch of warriors and think that, I conquered all the southern or western region, southwestern region of the Ransei area, I could totally take on Nobunaga's army, no problem, bring 'em on. You'll be sadly mistaken, even with your best warriors that may have trumped Ginchiyo, taken on Hideyoshi and blazed away his team in his somewhat cheap arena with the randomly falling rocks, but hey, I'm not complaining. We learned our lessons. But yeah, those are nothing. That was just mere warm-up so you know the mechanics of Conquest. Now here the game tests you, and that's something that I must say is very awesome to see in the pacing of this game. I mentioned there really isn't much grinding, and what you're seeing here is not grinding. We are still in 1 month. We are still just doing the most that we can with all the warriors that we've found so far, and trying to recruit as much as possible in between the Kingdom Takeovers. It's all about strategy and it's all about warrior placement. You're controlling multiple armies, you're taking control of multiple Pokemon, and the cool thing is you get to see every single one that you take control of in their 3D sprite form fighting it out, so it makes a even more compelling reason to see Pokemon evolutions, which comes with the linkage of the Pokemon, which is another reason you might want to make a special effort to best link your warriors. Otherwise it may take a considerable time of grinding to get them to the level percentage of linkage that they need to be with that warrior in order to evolve. Of course, there are some stipulations like the stone evolutions. If I want a Flareon, Vaporeon, or Jolteon, I'm going to need the Thunder, Fire, or Water Stone, which actually comes pretty quickly. It will be coming in the upcoming episodes pretty soon. I imagine once after we defeat at least one of Nobunaga's army's kingdoms. That's when the traveling warrior that we've seen before, I think his name is Kiji, if I'm not mistaken, and I very well might be. It's been a while since we've seen that guy. But he will give you a option of those stones, and that will be a big boost of power for us to take on the rest of Nobunaga's army. Still, if there are any wild Pokemon that are in your way, like Muna, for example, I don't believe I'll ever be able to pull myself away from fighting with Gallade and Shingen, or Kenshin rather. Kenshin is the psychic, Shingen is the ground. I always get those two mixed up because we take them on at around the same time, or we meet them at the same time. But I don't think I'll ever stop battling with Gallade, so I just want that Muna out of our way. We get experience for capturing it, we get experience for beating all of the warriors and or wild Pokemon that we run into. So if you want to get out of a battle quick, just link up with them. If they're annoying in their HP, you don't have something that's going to be super effective against them. But for example, a psychic trainer like Kenshin is going to link very quickly and well with any other psychics that you run into. So it's a good opportunity to end the battle quickly. Get to the point of what you're doing. Get to the training! And what's nice about the northern region being open to us, even though now it's mostly under Nobunaga's control, is we have a lot more areas to take on. We have a big, vast range of choices of what we want to fight as well. And now that we had the basic types of fire, grass, and water kingdoms, kind of like a starter Pokemon type of spin-off, where you always expect in the main RPG to have a choice of a starter of fire, grass, or water. Now the main kingdoms that you take on, it's Aurora. Well, you start out in Aurora, then you go to Ignis, then it's your choice after you take on the fire type area, then it's your choice from Greenleaf or Fontaine where you want to go, your preference of fighting grass or water first. Of course, there's the inherent advantage of taking on the grass first, because then you get something to beat the water types with, but if you take on the Fontaine Kingdom first, you don't get really a boost of power. You get kind of a weakness, a bigger chink in your armor if you go for those Pokemon to take on Greenleaf. So there's definitely an advantage to going a certain way, but it is still the three main types we're used to seeing at the beginning of any Pokemon game, and it's kind of funny to see them here played out in that way. Knowing your types, Woopar is part water and ground, so Mareep won't do anything, but Trico is super effective. Happy to have Trico this early in the game because a Sceptile is freaking awesome. One of my favorite starters in the 3rd gen. You know, overall, I must say, the 3rd gen had a lot of awesome starters. It's too bad that Torchic, I don't believe, is found in this game. Actually, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it is. Perhaps I'm just not seeing it yet. But Blaziken, I know, is definitely many trainers' favorite starter of all time. So Nobunaga's area is good for people to take on, because now you could decide, do I want to fight the rock type area first? Off the top of my head, I'm not sure what all these areas are called. I know the darkness region is Yaksha, and there is some dreaded trainers down there, some dreaded warriors and warlords down there that we might just take on first, just to get an extra boost in power, because I think I know what way I want my Eevee to evolve. I do believe I will take Kiji's stone opportunity of raising and evolving early on, and then we'll use that for the subsequent matches. But there's also the flying region that you could take on if you've got a couple of strong electric trainers from Violite that you've trained up. I mean, hey, we finally have Ginchiyo, which is great because that was actually a traveling warlord. So it's awesome to randomly run into her, 1, and also 2, defeat her within 4 turns. I know from playing this game in Japanese, sometimes it's not so easy to get a warlord to join your army even after you defeated them in 4 turns or less. I don't know if there's a greater stipulation for adding them to your team, but they never seem to want to join. But you'll see what I'm talking about in later episodes, I'm sure. Once we run into more warlords, once we have the option. But having Ginchiyo on our team early on from the start really does give us an extra motivation to perhaps check out the flying type area first, but it's all based on preference. It's up to you what you want to do. Maybe you took on Kenshin. If you took him on first, you might want to check out the poison territory first. These are all just options and areas to go in after you do this training montage within your own game, because trust me, no matter what you have, no matter what type advantage you have, you're still going to need the extra linkage boost that it takes to have your power raised. Oh, and speaking of power, don't forget to delegate. Delegations are good because it gives you kind of a chance to double up on power. You can enter that area to do the normal wild Pokemon battle and capture. No, I actually did not want to battle that kingdom at all, trying to go to Elusio. So you can do the regular battling that you would in that area, get the linkage boost from there, but before the turn is over, your kingdom is constantly training up in strength or in gold mining abilities, so if you want to find extra cash to use at the shops, if you like using the warrior tomes, using the equipment items, using potions in battles, which can be very useful if you equip them to the warriors you're looking to raise in HP. You could do all that with delegation. You could even send your warriors to search out for traveling. I was about to say following, but for traveling warriors, so that they will follow your army. And of course, you know the advantage of that. End evolution! More signs telling us that we should maybe go to the flying area first. But I do have my heart set out on Yaksha. That evil son of a bitch, I don't want him standing around. Something that I do warn you against is waiting idle. If you at least delegate your warriors, at least keep them busy, please do that. You don't have to visit each area each time. That's the idea also of delegation if you don't want to double up on training. You just want to have them do sort of autopilot training because it's your lesser warriors that you won't be taking out to battle, but are just sitting in the kingdoms for protection's sake. You're going to have to worry about that a lot more. There are invading nations from Nobunaga's army that, not nations, but kingdoms. I always confuse them as terms, but they are kingdoms. They're not towns, they're not gyms, they are kingdoms. Whatever you want to call them. The areas of type that will take us over. There's a greater chance of that threat happening now because we have all 8 of Nobunaga's army bearing down, well, not at once, but a good chunk, a good section and chunk of that 8, all bearing down on our kingdom, trying to stop us from foiling Lord Nobunaga's plans of trying to defeat the Ransei region. I really don't know what Nobunaga has told his fellow army men, probably some gibberish nationalistic kind of speech that got them to believe whatever he did for Ransei was the right way. But as far as Oichi tells us, he wants to destroy Ransei with the legendary Pokemon. That's why he's uniting them all. They don't even know what's coming. He's gonna desert them all and say, I just wanted to turn the shit over. I just wanted to kind of do game over. Let's restart. New region. Let's call it Nobunaga Land. Woo, yay me and the legendary. So his army's gonna be completely screwed over unless we do something about it. Unless we show our might. Train our warriors to their greatest potential. And then knock back on their kingdoms. because every kingdom that we take away from Nobunaga is one more power area for us. We're not seeing it now because we're only starting out in the game, but this will become more increasingly important as you gain more warriors, more traveling warriors and warlords on your side, and that is just having a spot to put them. If you're ever to hope to gain a lot of warrior strength, like hopefully we just did there because we defeated him within one turn, you're going to need a spot for them to take residency. If you have all 6 of your slots in all your kingdoms taken up, unfortunately, you're not going to get that warrior on your side, or alternatively, you can look to let go of one of your lesser warriors. So, say you don't want to keep the Magikarp guy, and, well, maybe if it comes down to that, we'll have to let him go. That's fine. He'll travel the lands of Ransei, and maybe you can pick him up again when you have taken over more kingdoms from Nobunaga. And that's pretty important because otherwise you're not going to have any potential to grow and expand your army. It's going to be limited to maybe the lesser warriors that you're not even going into battle with anyway. So if you see a warrior that you must have immediately, say you have all your slots filled in all your kingdoms, and then you run into Ginchiyo, and you know damn well she's going to join your team if you prove your power in under 4 turns, or 4 turns exactly, then you're going to want to replace the old Magikarp trainer. Do that without any haste. But hopefully it doesn't come down to that. It's all about balance. It's about not taking a completely inactive pacing so that reciprocating armies on the north side don't take you over. And it's also about making sure you can take them over in time so that you can take on the burden of having all these new warriors to train. You need lands of delegation, lands of gold, lands of the riches, lands of the search parties. All them things, you need it in Conquest. It's a big strategy game. It's turn-based, but it's highly strategical. It's strategical in a way that Pokemon hasn't done yet, and it's awesome to see, because it already relies on the well-established system of attack and defense and speed, not to the T of the, say, metagame in the main RPG, but it does have the attacks, the type bonus, the type advantage bonus for super effectiveness, the resistances, and of course all our favorite Pokemon. Well, not all of them, but a good selection of them. Certainly they have Charmander, and that's all you need. That means later on, once we train up this warrior, we can have it train and fight on our side with I was about to say Charmeleon. Well, yes, Charmeleon, but also, more importantly, Charizard. Charizard is one of my favorites. Probably the best of the first gen. It's the reason I bought Red. It is exactly that reason. And the funny thing was, when I went to go find my first Pokemon game, they had Red, but it was in Japanese. I didn't know why a Toys R Us had Japanese Red, so I went with Crystal instead. But later on I backtracked to Red, and I remember specifically wanting Red only because of the Dragon Charizard. That's not even a Dragon type. Go figure. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next episode.